free college football picks. This is action here for Saturday, September 3rd. I'm Tony T with our college football pick show here for Saturday. Well, we have the rest of them now. We have 16 games here for today. We did the rest of them earlier during the week, so you can find them on our channel. Before we get started, just a couple things. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Free college football picks are updated all season long. Free picks every day from all the major sports. We also have NFL, Major League Baseball, European football, CFL, WNBA, a lot more. So it is a good time to subscribe. And also, if you would support our channel, like this video, hit that thumbs up button. Greatly appreciate it. Then visit TonySpicks.com. We're a multi-capper site showcasing the top cappers in our industry. Click the link to the hot cappers on our site. Guys like Nick and Paul who've been on fire. I'm the top unit producer in baseball this season. Ben was hot. Tiffany. Click the link and get signed up to one of our long-term passes. You'll find our premium picks at the top of the page. Drop down menus with the free picks. As you scroll, you will find our best bets of the day listed here on the site. Click under premium pick. Click the best bet tab. Each capper can designate one best bet per sport per day. So you'll see more than one because there's more than one sports thing handicap, you see. So you'll see Tiffany with 2. We'll see Mindy with some up there. So get signed up. And each capper can designate a $15 premium play as their promotional pick. And so you can check that out as well. And to introduce you to the service, a lot of the cappers will make that $15 premium pick a best bet because they want to introduce you to their service. So check it out there at Tony'sPicks.com. And also, we have a promo code. You can save 20% off all premium pick packages. When you use the promo code TonyT at checkout, you can access our page by clicking the link in the description. In the All Cappers tab, get signed up. Always love to hear from you guys. Post your picks in the comments below. And we are looking for cappers to apply. Go to Tony'sPicks.com footer section to submit your form. All right, let's get this one started. Rice versus USC college football pick. This one here is on Saturday. Rice head coach Mike Bloomgren enters his 5th season. The team returned 7 starters on offense and to the defense. Owls finished at 4-8 and haven't made a bowl game since 2014. Wiley Green was named starting quarterback. It was a carousel last year with 4 rotating with little success. 3 starters return on the line. A program struggled on both ends. 116th in scoring, 118th in points allowed. The run game sputtered at 3.5 yards per attempt. Quarterbacks combined for a 58% completion rate. Owls defensively allowed 5 yards to carry on the ground, 8.6 yards per pass attempt, sit in the bottom 10% in the nation. Owls were unable to draw notable transfers. Of course, USC head coach Lincoln Riley enters his first season coming over from Oklahoma. 7 starters return on offense, 3 to the defense. Trojans, a forgettable season last year, 4-8. Of course, Riley brought in several playmakers through the transfer portal, including a starting quarterback and former Oklahoma Sooner, Caleb Williams, who gets inserted into the starters role. Now, USC gets great recruits, but what has hampered this program is the inability of their offensive line to perform at elite level. With the big names coming over on offense, the defense made very little noise in the transfer portal. The defense sat 98th in the nation in scoring defense, allowing 92 points a game, and were 99th getting off the field on third down. Teams rushed for 4.7 yards per attempt on Trojans, and USC was 120th in the country, allowing 8.8 yards per pass attempt. But Rice is the type of program that can exploit the Trojans' defense. Trojans' speed should be able to tame this 116th returning scoring offense here of Rice. USC offense should exploit the returning 118th scoring defense of Rice. The play here will be USC minus 32. UMass versus Tulane college football pick for Saturday. Don Brown returns for his first season at UMass, the second time around. The Minutemen finished 1-11 last season. Program returns 8 starters on offense and defense. A starting quarterback appears to be a game-time decision between returning starter Brady Olson and the dual threat Zamar Wise. Team is experienced at the running back and receiver position. The 3 starters return to the offensive line. This was a bottom-tier team on both sides of the football. They averaged 16 points while giving up nearly 45 and averaged just 297 yards a game, 49% completion rate. The positive is a run game that averaged 4.3 per attempt. Now, experience at all levels on defense. Now, Willie Fritz returns for a 7th season as head coach at Tulane. Team is experienced with 9 starters back on offense, 9 to the defense. The Green Wave finished 2-10 last season. Starting quarterback Michael Pratt returns under center. He did complete 58% of his throws. We'll have his playmakers back. 4 starters also returned to the offensive line. The defense was torched last year as the Green Wave allowed 35 points and 449 yards a game. They surrendered 279 yards in the passing game, 8.2 yards per pass attempt. But Tulane's experience should be able to dominate this downtrodden UMass program, so the play here will be on Tulane minus 28. Utah versus Florida college football pick. This one goes off here on Saturday. Kyle Whittingham is back for his 18th season at the program at Utah. The team finished 10-4 last year, made their first Rose Bowl appearance. They lost an exciting one, 48-45 to Ohio State. 8 starters returned on offense, 6 to the defense. Cameron Rising was inserted as a starter early in the season. The Utes made a turnaround offensively. A good downfield passer with the ability to run. Most of his weapons returned with 4 starters on the offensive line. Now, with the Utes program on the rise, they were able to lure transfers to the defensive side of the football. Utah averaged 36 points a game and were strong on third down with 50% conversion rate. The run game generated 5.6 yards per attempt. Opponents only rushed for 3.8 yards to carry on the Utes, 6.9 yards per pass attempt. Head coach Billy Napier makes his debut here with the Gators. The team returned 6 starters on offense, 7 to the defense. The team finished at 6-7 last year, losing to UCF in their bowl game. Anthony Richardson, expected starter at quarterback. The Gators struggled at the quarterback position last season with 18 interceptions. Their offense produced 27 points a game last season, but the run game was the bright spot here with 206 yards, 5.4 yards a carry. Gators did show improvement on defense. They did a good job getting off the field on third down and defended the pass well. Just prefer the balance of program in the Utes here despite being on the road. The play here, Utah minus 2.5. Miami, Ohio versus Kentucky college football pick. This one goes off here on Saturday. Chuck Martin enters his 9th season with Miami, Ohio. 9 starters are back on offense with 5 to the defense. The team went 7-6 last year, beating North Texas in their bowl game. Brett Gabbert returns at quarterback. 4 starters back on offense, along with their running backs and talented receiver core. Red Hawks were purged in the transfer portal, but by the big conference schools. Miami, Ohio, an average scoring team in 2021 with 28 points a game. The run game produced only 4.1 yards a carry. Downfield, the pass attack was good, 8.3 yards per pass attempt and 277 yards passing. Average all around the board for the Red Hawks against the run and pass defensively. They did hold teams to 24 points a game. Kentucky head coach Mark Stoops is in his 10th season with the school. Only 6 starters returned to the offense, 5 in the defense. Of course, Wildcats finished 10-3 last season, beating Iowa in their bowl game. Starting quarterback Will Levis returns under center. They must reload at receiver, but running back Christopher Rodriguez will return. Only 2 starters return to the offensive line. Kentucky 5th in the nation offensively on third down. The run game generated 5.4 yards per attempt, and they ran the football an average of 11 times more than passing it. Levis brings accuracy at the quarterback position. The team rushed both for only 3.8 yards a carry against, but the defense didn't force many turnovers. Opponents were able to pass on the Wildcats secondary, and they do lose 2 starters. So, again, the Kentucky run defense is worth noting here, holding teams to just 3.8 yards a carry last year. But the Red Hawks' experience on offense can keep them in this game and make them competitive. The play here will be Miami, Ohio, plus the 15. Army versus Coastal Carolina college football pick for Saturday. Army head coach Jeff Monken returns for his 9th season at the school. They finished 9-4 in 2021, beating Missouri in their bowl game. 8 starters returned on offense, with 6 to the defense for the Black Knights. Tyler will start at quarterback and has logged 4 starts the past 2 seasons. Army returns their top 2 running backs with 3 offensive linemen. The offense produced 30 points a game and were 12th in the nation on third down. They sat 2nd in the nation running the football with 268 yards a game. They did average 4.6 yards per attempt. Black Knights attempted only 9 passes per game. Defense was outstanding, holding opponents to 23 points and 342 yards a game. Coastal Carolina head coach Jamie Chadwell is back for his 4th season. The team returns only 4 starters on offense with 3 to the defense. They beat Northern Illinois 47-41 in their bowl game to finish 11-2 on the campaign. Quarterback Grayson McCall returns for his sophomore season, but many of his weapons exit the program and 2 return to the offensive line. Chanticleer's offense in 2021 ranked 4th in scoring, which at 40 points a game. They were tops on third down, posted 484 yards per game offensively. Defense, though, ranked 27th in the country, which was pretty good, holding opponents at 22 points a game, and opponents ran for 4.1 yards a carry against them. But it's just really tough for a mid-major to face the Black Knights with so much turnover on their team. The Army's ability to maintain possession of the football will go a long way here in this opener, causing Coastal Carolina's young defense to wear down. The player will be on Army plus the 2. Utah State versus Alabama, college football pick for Saturday. Utah State head coach Blake Anderson enters his second season. The team returned 7 starters on offense with 5 to the defense. Aggies were Mountain West champions in 2021, finishing 11-3 and beating Oregon State in their bowl game. Returning under center for Utah State will be Logan Bonner. His 3 top targets in the passing game have exited. 4 starters do return, though, on the offensive line, as do their top running back. Aggies produced 31 points a game last year, but averaged only 3.5 yards a carry on the ground. Passing game amounted for 295 yards a game, 8.2 yards per attempt. Aggies will be inexperienced in the front 7. Utah State held opponents to just 24 points at 389 yards a game. Opponents ran for 4.5 yards per attempt on them last season. Nick Saban is back for his 16th season at the school. 5 starters are back on offense with 7 to the defense. The team finished at 13-2 last season, losing to Georgia in the national championship game. Bryce Young returns under center. The team is reloading weapons around him with his top 4 targets exiting the program. They were able to gather transfers in the receiver and running back position. 3 starters returned to the offensive line, including their starting tight end. Of course, the offense produced 39 points a game, second in the nation on third down. They did average 4.1 yards to carry on the ground, but the passing game generated 343 yards, 8.9 yards per attempt. It does read 7 starters back on defense for Alabama, but their reserves seen a lot of action over the years. Defensively, Alabama was great on third down and against the run, where they allowed 2.7 yards per rush. But total seems a bit high, as Utah State in this road environment will struggle to score. Alabama's lack of experience at the receiver position may cost them a few points. The play here will be Alabama and Utah State under 63.5. Liberty versus Southern Miss, college football pick for Saturday. Hugh Freeze returns for his 4th season at Liberty. The Flames returned 7 starters on offense, 4 to the defense. The team went 8-5 a season ago, blowing out Eastern Michigan in their bowl game. They will have to replace Malik Willis at quarterback, who was drafted in the NFL. Charlie Brewer, the experienced one here, will be starting quarterback. Remember, the transfer started 29 games at Baylor. Was a starter at Utah last year. Stubbed his toe, lost his job after 3 games. He does have playmakers back. 3 starters returned to the offensive line. Of course, defense was strong in 2021. Freeze does add transfers again to fill the gaps. 3 starters exit in the secondary. The offense produced 32 points a game. The run game, 4.5 yards a carry, with 250 yards in the passing game. Defensively, the Flames held opponents to 23 points at 324 yards a game. Now, Southern Miss head coach Will Hall is back for his 2nd season, returning our 9 starters to the offense, 7 to the defense. The team finished 3-9 last season. The last time made a bowl game was in 2019. The team downgrades their program from Conference USA to the Sun Belt. It was a quarterback carousel in 2021 due to injuries and ineffectiveness. 4 starters returned to the offensive line that did a poor job a season ago. Most playmakers are back. Golden Eagles were 125th in scoring, averaging 15.9 points a game, near the bottom of college football on third down in total yardage, and they only ran for 2.8 yards a carry. Southern Miss did hold teams to 30 points and 378 yards a game. Incredible based on how bad the offense was. Golden Eagles offensive woes too difficult to back here. The play here will be Liberty minus 3.5. Memphis versus Mississippi State, college football pick this one Saturday. Ryan Silverfield returns for his 3rd season at Memphis, returning our 7 starters on offense, 6 to the defense. The Tigers finished at 6-6 last season and earned a trip to the Hawaii Bowl, which was canceled. Seth Hennigan returns under center. There is experience at the running back and wide receiver positions. Memphis on defense is inexperienced on the defensive line. Offensively, averaged 29 points a game with struggles in the run game at 3.6 yards per attempt. Team threw for 302 yards a game, pretty good 8 yards per pass attempt. Defensively, the Tigers allowed 30 points at 429 yards to opponents. Opponents rushed for 4.2 yards a carry, passed for 64% completion rate with 255 yards per game. Now, on the road win last year, their one road win last year came in a 55-50 win at Arkansas State. Of course, Mike Leach is back for his 3rd season at Mississippi State, returning our 8 starters to the offense, 9 to the defense. Bulldogs finished at 7-6 last year, losing 34-7 to Texas Tech in their bowl game. Will Rogers returns under center. I'll have 3 starters on the offensive line. 4 of the top 5 receivers are back for Mississippi State at receiver, as is their lead running back. Now, all starters on defense return to the line. They're inexperienced there a bit here in the back 7. Offensively, the team produced 27 points a game with 2.8 yards per rush. They led all of college football with 55 pass attempts per game, 73% completion rate. Despite 369 yards passes per game, they only averaged 6.7 yards per attempt, ranking 99th in the nation. Defensively, the Bulldogs did give up 27 points a game. They were poor getting off the field on third down, but defended the run well. Opponents completed 63% of their passes on Mississippi State with 7.6 yards per pass attempt. Now, with Hennigan back and many of his weapons back, we'll take the points here. The play here will be Memphis plus 17. SMU versus North Texas college football pick. This one here is on Saturday. Rhett Lashley begins his first season as head coach at SMU. Returning starters are 6 on offense, 7 to the defense. The program finished at 8-4 last season with their bowl game canceled. Sonny Dykes exits for TCU, and his former offensive coordinator is now head coach. Starting quarterback Tanner Mordecai as does his lead running back return. 3 starters are back on the offensive line, but 2 key receivers exit. Mustangs have experience on their defensive line and secondary. SMU averaged 37 points and 463 yards a game last season. The run game generated 4.6 yards per rush with 303 yards passing. Mustangs excellent in run defense, allowing 3.7 yards per rush. Improvement needed in the passing game, where they allowed 284 yards and 8.4 yards per pass attempt. Seth Luttrell is in his 7th season with North Texas. 8 starters return on offense, but only 3 to the defense. Mean Green moves to 1-0 with their 31-13 road win at UTEP. North Texas was able to run for 163 yards. Austin On completed 16 of 29 passes for 236 yards and a touchdown. Mean Green did surrender 400 yards to UTEP, playing the run well but giving up 293 yards passing. Mustangs struggled defending the pass, and the Mean Green has a balance to their offense. With their experience on offense and a game played, and a game here play will actually in this game he'll play at home. We're going to side here with the home underdog, so the play here will be on North Texas at plus the 10. Notre Dame versus Ohio State college football pick. This one is on Saturday. Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman is in his first season. He takes over for Brian Kelly, who heads over to LSU. Fine Irish had 7 starters back on offense, 8 to the defense. They did finish 11-2 last year, losing to Oklahoma State in the Fiesta Bowl. Quarterback position is turned over to Tyler Buckner. He saw limited work last year, attempting 35 passes, but they're running for over 300 yards a game. They do lose their key running back. Notre Dame returns 4 starters to the offensive line. Notre Dame has experience defensively in their back 7. Fine Irish produced 35 points and 426 yards a game last season. They rushed for 4.1 yards a carry, but threw for 282 with 8.1 yards per pass attempt. Defense was outstanding as they gave just 20 points and 359 yards a game. They were 10th in the nation on third down. Now, Ryan Day, 4th season at Ohio State. The team returned 6 on offense, 8 to the defense. The Buckeyes finished 11-2 last year. They beat Utah in an exciting Rose Bowl game on January 1st. C.J. Stroud returns under center. The team returns their running back, but lost 2 key receivers in the NFL. 3 starters returned to the offensive line. Buckeyes defensively experienced in their back 7. Of course, Ohio State was the top scoring team in all of college football last season. They also averaged 561 yards a game and were strong on third down. The run game generated 5.6 yards per attempt, and the passing game 10 yards per pass attempt. But the teams were able to pass on Ohio State's defense last year for 246 yards and nearly 62% completion rate with 6.9 yards per attempt. Now, Notre Dame's strong defense could keep them competitive here. Buckeyes failed to cover last year against the tougher teams on their schedule like Oregon, Penn State, Michigan, and Utah in their bowl game. The play here will be Notre Dame plus the 16. Georgia State versus South Carolina college football pick for Saturday. Georgia State head coach Sean Elliott enters his 6th season with the school. 8 starters return on offense with 7 to the defense. The team finished at 8-5 last year, blowing out Ball State in their bowl game. Panthers returned their starting quarterback and top running back. 4 starters return on offense. Georgia State was a run-heavy team, averaging 228 yards a game, 5.1 yards per attempt. Defensively, the Panthers are experienced in the secondary, but do rotate players on defense. They held opponents to 27 points a game and were strong against the run, allowing 3.5 yards per rush. Opponents were able to throw the football on the Panthers for 261 yards, 7.7 yards an attempt. Now, South Carolina head coach Shane Beamer is in his second season. 8 starters back on offense, only 5 of the defense. The Gamecocks finished at 7-6 last year, beating North Carolina in their bowl game. Spencer Rattler transfers over to South Carolina. Now his playmakers return, as do all 5 on the offensive line. Gamecocks were 109th in the nation in scoring, yardage, and third down last year. The run game generated only 3.7 yards a carry. The team was able to run opponents were able to run on South Carolina, I should say, for 187 yards and nearly 5 yards a carry. They did defend the pass well. Of course, Panthers played Auburn tough last year, losing by 10 and covering. Georgia State's run game and defense keeps them in this one. Lots to fix for the Gamecocks. The play here will be Georgia State plus the 13. Louisville versus Syracuse, college football pick for Saturday. Louisville head coach Scott Scatterfield is in his 4th season. The team returned 7 starters on offense, 7 to the defense. They finished at 6-7 last year, losing to Air Force in their bowl game. Senior quarterback Malik Cunningham returns with his top running backs. Cardinals lose 3 starting wide receivers, but use a transfer portal to restock. 4 starters are back to the offensive line. Of course, last year the offense averaged 32 points and moved the football for 447 yards. The run game generated 5.5 yards a carry. And to improve this defense, the Cardinals hit the transfer portal to fill their holes. Defensively, Louisville did allow 29 points and 418 yards to their opponents last year. They struggled in the passing game, giving up 254 yards, 7.7 yards per attempt. Of course, Dino Babers enters the 7th season here with Syracuse as their head coach. 9 starters return on offense, 8 to the defense. Orange finished at 5-7. They missed the bowl game for the 3rd straight season. The Syracuse offense struggled last year. Orange starting quarterback and running back return. 4 are back from the offensive line that were poor in pass protection. Syracuse last year averaged 21 points, 343 yards a game. The run game did generate 5 yards a carry. That was their bright spot. The passing game, very poor. 53% completion rate, 135 yards, 5.7 yards per pass attempt. Cardinals had some good performances on the road last year. Tough to back Syracuse with their line and quarterback play. Offensively, the play here will be Louisville minus 4.5. Monroe versus Texas, college football pick for Saturday. Monroe head coach Terry Bowden returns for his 2nd season at the school. 8 starters return on offense, 4 to the defense. The Warhawks finished at 4-8 last season. Chandler Rogers returns at quarterback, as does his playmakers. 3 starters return to the offensive line, but first-year starters at center and right guard. First-year starters in the secondary as well. Last year, the offense struggled putting up points at 22 and 335 yards a game. Only 3.3 yards per rush, 6.8 yards per pass attempt. Monroe on defense did give up 36 points, 468 yards a game, ranking 115th in the nation. They couldn't get off the field on 3rd down and gave up 293 yards passing for 8.6 yards per pass attempt. Steve Sarkisian returns for his 2nd season at the school at Texas. 7 starters return on offense and defense. The team did finish 5-7, missed the bowl game. Quinn Ewers will start at quarterback and will have his playmakers back from last season. 3 starters return to the offensive line. Longhorns defense experienced in the front 7 and with their starters back on the defensive line. Offense produced 35 points and 424 yards a game. They did run the football effectively, 5.3 yards a carry, 225 yards passing, but it was a defense that really let them down. They performed poorly, giving up 31 points and 427 yards a game. Opponents rushed for 5.2 yards a carry and 67.6% completion rate against them. Play of the Longhorns defense really makes it tough to lay this huge number. The play here will be Monroe here at plus 37.5. Kent versus Washington, college football pick. This one here is on Saturday. Golden Flashes head coach Sean Lewis enters his 5th season. 4 starters return on offense, 6 to the defense. The team finished at 7-7, losing to Wyoming in the Potato Bowl. They lose their starting quarterback, 2 of their top 3 receivers. Only 1 starter returns on the offensive line, and they look for transfer help there. Golden Flash is inexperienced in their secondary. Kent moved the football last year for 479 yards and put up 31 points a game. They ran the football for 5.1 yards per rush, 64% completion rate, 8.4 yards per pass attempt. Defense was poor for Kent last year, allowing 38 points and 485 yards a game. Golden Flashes, 124th on third down and gave up 5.1 yards per rush attempt. Passing game really struggled as well, allowing 275 yards, 7.9 yards per pass attempt. Kalen DeBoer enters his first season here with Washington. 8 starters return on offense, 5 to the defense. The team finished at 4-8 last season. Michael Penix will transfer in from Indiana at quarterback. No, he's dealt with some injury problem in the past. Huskies have 4 starters to their offensive line. Their receiving quarterback, defensively inexperienced on the line and at corner. Huskies' offense was anemic for their standards, averaging just 23 points and 328 yards a game. The run game only 3.3 yards on the ground per attempt, 6.8 yards per pass attempt. Defense held up, holding teams to just 23 points and 346 yards a game. Kent's inexperience on offense, and the Huskies did play well on defense. Still many questions about the Washington offense. The play here will be Kent and Washington under 60 points. Boise State versus Oregon State. College football pick. This one goes off on Saturday. Andy Avalos returns for his second season at Boise State. The team returns 8 on offense, 9 to the defense. The Broncos finished at 7-5, and their bowl game was canceled. Quarterback Hank Bachmeier is back under center. Top running back returns, but three of his top 4 receivers exit. 4 starters return on the offensive line. Boise State's offense was below standards in 2021, averaging 29 points a game. The run game generated only 3 yards a carry. Passing game was average against the nation. Now defensively, Boise State gave up 19 points a game with 365 yards. Team ran for 4 yards a carry on the Broncos with 7.8 yards per pass attempt. Oregon State head coach Jonathan Smith returns for his 5th season. 6 starters return on the offense, 9 to the defense. Team went 7-6 last year, losing to Utah State in their bowl game. Chance Nolan returns at quarterback. Beavers lose their top running back, but there is depth at the position. 4 starters are back on the offensive line, but 2 first-time starters at wide receiver. Now, Oregon State experienced on defense and on the line and secondary. Beavers' offense generated 30 points and 431 yards a game. Now, the run game was exceptional, 5.3 yards a carry. Completion rate at 62%, 8.2 yards here per pass attempt. Of course, Oregon State's defense needs improvement. They did give up 28 points a game, and they were 128th in the nation on third down. Of course, the teams threw for 256 yards on this Beaver defense, 7.6 yards per attempt. Broncos' passing game lacks enough quality to really fully exploit this Oregon State team. Broncos are strong defensively, but lack a run game that hurts their offense. The play here will be Oregon State and Boise State to go under a total of 56.5 points. Western Kentucky versus Hawaii. College football pick action Saturday. Hilltoppers head coach Tyson Helton is in his 4th season. Team returns 4 starters on offense, 7 to the defense. Austin Reed beat out Jared Doji at quarterback. Now, Western Kentucky opened with FCS school Austin Peay, came away with a 38-27 win. Reed, the Florida transfer, hit on 34 passes for 279 yards with 4 touchdowns and a pick. Reed is the choice to run up tempo style here for Western Kentucky. It's the quarterback choice, that is. Defensively, they did allow Governors there 327 yards, 171 rushing in that win. Now, Hawaii's the head coach, Timmy Chen. He's in his first season at the school. Total rebuild as many starters transferred out of the program. Warriors opened at home to Vanderbilt. They were soundly beaten 53-10. Hawaii's defense gave 601 yards to the Commodores with 404 yards rushing on 40 carries. Warriors offensively gained 358 yards, 250 through the air. Both teams run up-tempo styles, and each defense struggled in their openers. This has a look of a high-scoring game. The play here will be on Western Kentucky and Hawaii to go over a total of 67.5. Hey, that was our college football big show for today. Stay tuned for our live viewers, our live show with Mindy and Ramon coming up at about top of the hour for our live show, 9 a.m. Eastern time. For the rest of you, come back tomorrow with